Allez hop. So we're starting because I have a lot of slides and I have only 20 minutes, so I already know that I will be late. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot, sir. So welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. I think it was a little bit raining, so that's very nice of you to still have been able to come. So this is this first keynote is a kickoff. That's the first meetup that is organized for this group, and we will have an overview of the concept of the chatbots, and also an overview of the landscape. Who are the main actors and what are the available tools and solutions. So my name is Hicham Bakir. I'm one of the co-organizers. Gilles, who is sitting there, is another co-organizer, and it's a very open group. So as I said, it starts with you. It's not IT starts with you, but it starts with you. And so we are searching for other co-organizers if more people are interested to co-organize and take some responsibilities. Also, if you have some ideas of topics that you want to push, if you have sponsors, because this way we can have a nice, better snacks than today and things like that. Or if you want to be a speaker, or if you have any kind of initiative that you want to do around this group. All the initiatives are welcome. So about chatbots. There was a conference in Vienna last year, and they had a nice bag that they were giving as a perk with this nice conversation. What do we want? Chatbots! When do we want them? Sorry, I didn't understand your request. So that's when I started to look at chatbots. That was my experience with chatbots. That's what I was understanding from it. So at first it can seem that this machine is quite silly because she doesn't understand something very basic. So how much does a chatbot has to be smart? Does it have to be very intelligent to be a chatbot, or is it okay to be just a bit stupid? We have a definition, so there are many definitions. I guess you have some definition. You can guess. You can say maybe what do you think is a chatbot. I took this one from Ben Brown. I don't know if you know him. It's one of the co-founders of Howdy.ai. I like this one because it's compact and because it's talking about context and conversation. With this definition, so it's not the only one. You can think that chatbots can be more open than this, but this one is narrowing chatbots to conversation. It means that it's not one shot. When you're talking with an assistant, you're not just asking one question and then he answers and he forgets what you just asked. Next time you ask a question, he doesn't know that this is a conversation. It's just you're coming for something else completely different. So the idea of conversation, it's narrowing what we actually call a chat. When you have a chat, it's more than 2 turns. So to have something smart, we have the Turing test that is the reference that everybody is pushing when we're talking about chatbots. Why? Because if we are trying to wonder if a software or machine can be smart, it's something can be intelligent and think. It's something too wide and too subjective to say. The benefit of the Turing test is that it's defining a way to evaluate if a machine is smart or not. You probably, maybe most of you know this. There are a lot of links in this keynote, so you can have the full details. But in a paper that he published in 1950, he's introducing what he called the imitation game. So the idea is that to evaluate if a machine is smart, we put two people, one person, one human being with one machine. They have a conversation. This conversation is done through texting, and then we have another person not sitting in the same place. It's done remotely, and that person is observing the conversation between the machine and the human being. And then that person has to guess which one is the computer and which one is the human being. And if the computer is able to make the evaluator believe that he is human at least 30% of the time during a 5-minute conversation, then we say that he passed the Turing test. So there are a lot of discussion whether it already happened, that some kind of software already passed the Turing test. I think there are some claims that they do it, and some people say that no, it's not. That's not true. Another thing that people say is that there is nothing new with chatbots. There's been chatbots for many years now, and so this is a kind of history of the most famous chatbots. It starts with Elisa and Paris. Maybe there were other chatbots before. If you don't know them, I'm just going to be quick. Elisa, it's a very small software. It's 3 pages of code, and the 3 pages, it includes all the data. And Elisa is simulating a psychotherapist, a Rogerian psychotherapist. And 6 years later, people implemented Paris, and Paris had a conversation with Elisa. And Paris was implemented as a paranoid, someone with a condition, which is a bit psycho. So someone with a paranoid schizophrenia. And they had a conversation, Elisa and Paris, during a convention, a communication conference. And so you can find the transcription of their conversation. It's on this link. It's RFC now. So it's quite funny to see. There is also Jabberwocky. It's still alive. So you can, if you follow the link, you will be able to discuss with Jabberwocky. And so there are a lot of examples. They are following the technology. With the PCs, we had Dr. Saisbo. When the internet came, we had Smarter Child, and blah, blah, blah. And then you can see there is a kind of acceleration from 2015, 2016. And so even if there was already some chatbots, there is something different today, is that we have a kind of a convergence between different things, and especially with what happened in the mobiles field. So in black, you have the evolution of the PCs market. You can see that it's stagnating and even decreasing now. But the smartphone, it's the yellow line. It's quite strong today. And of course, as a correlation to this very strong growth, you have all the actors that we call the GAFA. So you have GAFAM, if we had Microsoft. You have Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Microsoft. They are all running in this course. And the thing that is interesting is that they have a lot of money, they are very powerful, and they are making a very tough competition. It means that this competition is making things evolve in a very fast way with a lot of research and innovation, which is very different from what happened just before. Other things we have is that since 2006, with the Jeopardy game with IBM Watson, we know that we have actual machines that are able to do very smart things with machine learning, deep learning, all those technologies that are becoming now more and more common to use and that are quite mature. So it's a lot of convergence that is explaining that today there are a lot of massive investments, and you can find, it's very easy to find APIs, solutions, tools, vendors that are providing solutions if you want to implement your first chatbot. I have a slide that is giving a lot of details. It's not mine. No? It's John Brunner who did it. It's someone at O'Reilly. And on this infographic, he gives, so the page is huge. It gives all the platforms that are available by categories. So you have the link. You can have a look at it and browse that website. It also says what belongs to who. So you can see all the GAFAM. What are they doing? What are they, and who are the independent players? So when you want to implement your chatbot, you have few things to solve. So this is a bit naive. It's just to say that we will discuss of different parts. But on the left, you have the speech to text. How do you get the stuff that the people want to say to your chatbot? So we have the concept now. We used to have the GUI, the graphic user interface, which with the web, for instance, was the way people were talking with your system, clicking buttons, navigating, and all these things. And then we have what we call the VUI, voice user interface, which was already existing when you were calling some service, and it was asking, if you want to do this, press 1, if you want to do this, press 2. It's the tone, so it's already using a kind of voice. But now you have Siri, you have Google Assistant, all this stuff. And then you have Alexa, the Amazon device. And then you have the QE, and the C is for conversation. So it's the conversational user interface. And for the chatbot, it's what we use as a generic way to discuss it. And then once you get that text, you need to understand what the people are talking about. So you need to understand the concepts. So then you have a stack, a set of tools that will extract the meaning of all the sentences. So what you extract is the intent, for instance. What are the people trying to do? Are they chatting with me to order a pizza, or is it to book a train, or is it to review some technology, or to criticize something? What is the intent? And of course the intent, then it's enriched with the entities. So for instance, an entity could be a location, a date, some kind of object, categories and things like that. So you have this kind of tools. And then you have machine learning. A chatbot doesn't have to use necessarily machine learning. So machine learning is making it more powerful. It's optimizing what it can do. But you can have some chatbots that are not necessarily super smart or super powerful. They're just doing something very specialized. For instance, something very repetitive and silly. And maybe you can just use it because you have a list of what happened before and you play randomly what happened before, like Elisa was doing. So that's why I put it in brackets. Maybe you don't always have to use machine learning. And with machine learning comes the fact that the chatbot, if he's a robot, if he's a bit smart, sometimes he will interact with human and he will be trained by a human. So at first he will be observing what the human is doing. For instance, somebody from the support, how does he help the customer? This is recorded as a conversation, and maybe then the chatbot is able to understand some patterns and to replay them. So that's the human training. And then that's specifically the case for Google. They have a lot of data. So they have even your conversations. They have a lot of things where they don't need humans because they already have recorded for many, many years enough data to be able to find other models and patterns and things like that. So that puts them on the GAFAM's list. That puts them in a very specific position, very strong position. And then depending on your use case, you will have different action. So maybe you will put a transaction to buy a ticket, or you will send back some information because it was just a question, and things like that. So if we take them one by one, when we said QE, VUI, GUI, it doesn't mean that one is replacing the others. So what you can see now when you use APIs like Slack or I think Facebook Messenger, they have the same thing. You can push text to your users, but you can also push some quick replies buttons. So this way, for instance, somebody wants to order some food. You know that person, you recognize him, you know what he already ordered. So maybe instead of waiting for him to type again what he wants to eat, you will put some buttons with the last 5 things that he has been ordering, and then for him, he just has to press and it's very quick. Also, there is what we call the blinking cursor issue. When you have just a cursor that is blinking, it's not always easy to understand what the chatbot is supposed to understand from what you say. You will ask a question that is completely out of his scope, and you will be frustrated because it doesn't work. So the people that are delivering this chatbot will put some suggestions on the question that you can ask. It's quite common when you start to play with APIs that they give you an example of what you can ask, and this way it's very quick for you to understand what you can expect from it. So that's different channels, and it seems that now it's very common to mix them. Then on the processing, natural language processing, I have a demonstration. So I don't know if you know Hundify. So maybe you know Hundify. Some of you know Hundify. No. So very quick demonstration. So Hundify, they have a set of domains. It means that there are a lot of domains that they can understand for us, and so it's free to use with limited credit. So you can't use it for your application. Then you have to pay for a lot of things, but you can use the link to start to play with it. I created a bot, and then if I go on my dashboard, I can pick some domains that I want to use. And so this is the list of the out-of-the-box domains. And then if you take an enterprise subscription, you can start to create your own domain with your specific data. So for instance, I have, this morning I did a demonstration with the weather. So to take some risk, I will change. Taking the stock market. I already tried the stock market this morning, so it's not really a big risk. Up, I accept. So as you can see, I'm supposed to use this from my server, and and to use their API to enrich my application, but you can test the API directly from the website. And so here they give an example of what you can ask. So I will ask for the stock price of IBM yesterday. Voila. So what is returning is a set of JSON data. Okay, I don't know if it's you can see something if it's big enough. So I entered some unstructured data. It's just a sentence. It could be much more complex than what I did. And then it's able to return some structured data, the spoken response, the written response, and also some entities. You understand that I'm talking about some date. So for instance, I asked about yesterday. So he found that yesterday is a date, and it's the 28th of February. Then he knows, so that's what he calls the when. Then he knows that I'm expecting a quantity. So in his entities, he has a how much, and blah, blah, blah. So he sees the price and all these things. So this, I can fetch it and use it in my application to start to work with my user. And then at the beginning, we talked about context and conversation, the fact that it has to have several terms. So now I can come back and ask another question. Where is it that I can do this? So I talked about IBM yesterday and the stock price, but now I can do, and what about today? Okay, so I'm not mentioning anymore IBM nor the stock price. Okay, and it's supposed to understand the context and the history, and that's what he did. So we have almost the same kind of information, but this time we have a little bit more. We have a history here, so it means that we have all the terms that we had in the conversation. When I said today, so I guess we will have the 1st of March somewhere, so this was the previous shot, and now we have the 1st of March, and it's still relating things. So that's one way to use the API. It's very easy to use it and to benefit from all the available domains, and then to fetch that data to enrich your application. I have another example with the text analytics API. So it's, I said that it's machine learning, but both Houndify and machine learning, it's difficult to say which one is natural language processing and which one is machine learning. It overlaps a bit. I have a very quick demonstration. When you go on their website, that's the same. They have an API. They have a demonstration. I was going to skip it, but actually it's quite funny. So you can provide an image. So it's still a chatbot, and maybe in your chatbot you can push a picture. There is an Asiatic chatbot where you put a picture of a dog, and it will reply with pictures of comedians that look like that dog, for instance. That's a kind of good business model. And so they have a lot of APIs. I took the one with the emotion, and here you have an example. You can see what are the emotions on this picture. You see? You can see that there's no disgust, but there's a lot of happiness and things like that. If you take this kid, is surprised, so it will translate this way. Surprise, it's at 0.87. The closer to 1 is giving an indication of what is happening. Up, up, up. And this one, the disgust, you can see that it's recognizing it. I haven't tried it, I just played with the demo. But then I have another demonstration, which is a chatbot. So I followed a course on O'Reilly. There was a workshop where you could do your chatbot. And it's a bit of code that is based on Node.js. It's using the Slack API. So I implemented a chatbot. Voila. And this one, what it's doing is that is querying the Microsoft API to understand what is the sentiment that is in my sentence. So I will put some sentences in the bot, and it will say if it's positive or negative. So npm start. Voila, voila, voila. So up, up, up. Yeah, I'm not in the project, so don't move. Up, up, up. Voila. So now we started. And I go, his name is Chatbot back here. So I will say hello. And actually I discovered that hello is very powerful and very positive. So he received hello. Now he's querying the Microsoft API, and that's very positive, 0.98. So hello is a very nice, very positive word. Now I will say that I'm very upset about something. I am very upset about what you did. Voila. So same thing, analyzing, querying Microsoft. I don't know if you see this. Is it big enough? So now it's very close to 0. We are at 0.04. So it was maybe a bit too strong what I said. I can say maybe I'm slightly disappointed. And then I stop because I'm running out of time. So it's slightly better, 0.05. So it gives some information about the sentiment. So my application is very, very simple. It fits in one page, and it's not super smart. So there's no value in it. All the value is in the API that I'm using. You see, so that's the call to the API, and I'm just fetching the channel. I'm using the Slack API to fetch the channel and the message that are traveling on the channel. So up. So it's already 20 minutes. I have then the remaining part of the keynote. It's a lot of links to different kind of tools. So then we will browse them very quickly, but I will not demonstrate them. You can have a look. And so this one is for prototyping. If you want to, maybe you have already a record of a lot of conversation and you want to start a chatbot, you can take one of the conversation that you would like to implement with a chatbot and prototype it in this. Have a look at Bot Society. It's very funny to start to simulate a chatbot on it. Most of the chatbots are server-side, and Beep-Boop is one of the platforms that allows you to host your chatbot. It's not as low level as Heroku or Amazon and all these things. It's really very easy, even if you're not a developer, to go there and start to implement an actual chatbot that you will be able to use. There is, for the developers, BotKit, which is one of the framework I tried. It's based on Node.js, and it seems that Node.js is very popular for the chatbots implementation, but there is also the Android platform, as we suggested this morning, but I don't know that one. So there's more in the John Brunner slide with the link. It's more exhaustive. This is just a selection from myself. Automat, does anyone here has an account on Automat? Nobody? Because so it seems to be the next big thing. It's an end-to-end platform. Everybody is talking about it, but you can't have access only on invitation, and I have not been invited, so I have no idea what is happening on it. It seems that they cover everything from the hosting to the authoring, the content management, everything, the accounts. So maybe the question is how you don't get locked in this vendor. Once you start with them, you can't move to something else. And then something that is very common with the web is to use analytics to understand what your users are doing. Given it's not the same use cases or patterns, then you need new tools. Dashbot is one of them. It's worth having a look at it. It's very well done, very informative, at least just to browse the website. Voilà, that's it for me. I'm 3 minutes late. Merci. Thank you very much. Merci.